It's the final race of the season, and it brings us to Las Vegas for the 6th year in a row here at the Bull Ring. Final adjustments are being made as the best of the Lucas Oil Modified Series presented by Lone Mart show up to do battle. Austin Barnes is staring at his first ever championship and will be the 5th name in that illustrious group. But Chris Gershman's the winningest driver in the history of the series, and he's here to make it tough. The race is next.
We've been going at this. This will be our 5th season. I've had a 4th, I've had a 2nd. I mean, it's just, we've been trying so hard for so long to try and win this. And we've had 2 great seasons now. Last season didn't go our way, but this season really just kind of fell into our hands. And so, I mean, it'd just be the greatest thing ever if we could win this.
Welcome to the Lucas Oil Modified Series here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is the Lucas Oil Battle at the Bull Ring. And for the 6th year running, our final event here, we always look forward to this. Ken Stout and Rob Klepper to call the action for you. And this place definitely brings out the horns in everybody.
You can see the lights of Sin City just off the bow there as these modified drivers get set for what can be the biggest race of the year. The finale championship is on the line.
The record number of cars here coming to try out and to make the race, 48 entries here this afternoon. Here's a look at the points. Austin Barnes, 18 ahead of Chris Gershman, much like coming into race number 5. Gershman hoping he can have the same luck he had in race number 5, but that has not gone his way so far. In fact, a blown-up engine, a broken crank forced a change in engines and actually a borrowed power plant. Jim Martis, 84, back in 3rd place, a 2-time and reigning champ.
Yeah, Martis pretty much going to hang out and end up there in that 3rd spot. Really can't win the championship. It comes down to Gershman and Barnes. Either one of those guys have a shot to take home this title.
They'll be joined by some champions out of different disciplines as well, including the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West champion, Dylan Kwasniewski. All right, let's take a look at this racetrack.
They call it the Bull Ring. Opened back in 1985, of course, refurbished in 2000. 3/8 mile in distance, D-shaped oval. Little bit of banking in the corners. You can get up on the corner, run that outside part of the racetrack. And of course, it's right here on the grounds of the big track, the 1.5-mile Las Vegas Motor Speedway. A drag strip, a short course off-road track. This is the place you want to come on the West Coast if you like motorsports.
It is a beautiful complex, to say the least. Something here for everybody. There's a look at Chris Gershman's car, and as we talked about, he has struggled here today. In fact, has to use a provisional to get into the field. We had a chance to speak with Chris a little bit earlier today about his struggles.
First off, I was going for qualifying, went around for my warm-up lap, went around for the first lap, and then it started to get revved up down the back stretch, and I think we broke a crank in the motor. I definitely have to say thank you to all the other racers out here. Those guys all pitched in and offered me motors. I got a motor out of another Vegas car that I guess crashed last night. And then I had another car over here wrenching on it. Another guy from a car wrenching on my car. So I got to say thank you to everybody.
Yeah, you can see seeing there closing his eyes, letting some of the stress go. That's not uncommon for the drivers here as we take a look at what we'll be watching tonight.
75-lap main event, all green flag laps. Cautions will not count. The final race of 2012, and of course the ASA National Champion, Shelby Strobel, laid down quick time 15.203, lightning quick here at the Bull Ring.
Lightning quick is a great description because it is also a new track record. Here's a look at your starting grid, courtesy of Lucas Oil Products, and Dylan Kwasniewski will start on the outside of row number 1 alongside Carpenter. Of course, we talked about him being a champion on the inside, our number 1 qualifier of row number 2, and Strobel a champion in his own right. Then our points leader Barnes on the inside of row number 3. The defending champion Jim Martis on the inside of row number 4. Go down to the 10th row, and that is Winters, another California short track champion who is racing with us tonight. So the field littered with talent all along the way.
Yeah, the best of the best modified drivers on the West Coast want to win here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And there you can see the Gershmans. Chris Gershman inside row number 12 alongside his dad, Larry Gershman. But Chris Gershman, 18 points back, trying to win a championship. It's going to be tough starting that far back with Barnes towards the front.
Well, you're right. I mean, he's going to need a lot of good luck, an excellent race car, and you don't want to wish any bad luck on anybody, but he's going to have to hope that Barnes has a tough night if he's going to make up those 18 points and win this championship.
Well, the third member of our broadcast team is down trackside. Let's get it down to Dave Argabright.
Shelby Strobel code all the way down here from Idaho to set quick time in the 3 car. He lines up inside of row 2. He is going to be the guy to watch tonight. He's not racing for points. He can go for it. 75 laps. He's got a great starting spot. He is the guy to watch tonight.
We'll find out how he does here in this group. So solid here, and he's going to be right in the middle of this hunt. Barnes just needs to keep his nose clean basically here tonight, stay out of trouble, and put his name in that illustrious group of champions here with this series. Green flag flies, 75 laps here at the Bull Ring, and we've got action already.
Yeah, that was Doug Carpenter on the outside getting some love from the Kwasniewski and the 3X as we go on board with Doug Ham back into turn 3 and sideways. Gets run into by the 23 car. We see the 24 winners stop on the racetrack and early mayhem here at Vegas.
Yeah, this one starts off ugly, man. Everybody on the rear end is junking that one.
Yeah, you could see a lot of tire rub there.
The locator bars back in the track bars, unfortunately, that locate that diff. Obviously broke or bent, but nonetheless, it's moving around a bunch. So a number of cars involved here, including the 24 of Scott Winters, who we talked about before, starting there in the back of the pack and the inside of row number 10. Tough, man. You know, it's a dominoes effect. A couple of people have trouble up in front of you, and you try to get out of the way, but looks like a little bit of damage there to the left rear.
Doug Ham also with some damage there, as we documented there in the 42 from right here in Vegas. Let's take a look at it one more time. This is going into turn 1 on the first lap, and you can see that the 3 of Carpenter locked him up, got into the left rear quarter of Kwasniewski, which shot him up the racetrack. That was coming off turn 2, and then all the action happened here on the low part of the racetrack in turn 3.
You know, I'm not sure that Ham's car didn't just break right there all on its own, and then everybody was scrambling in the back to try and stay out of him. So, interesting starts here at the Bull Ring. Stay with us. We'll get them restarted one more time.
The Lucas Oil Modified Racing Series is brought to you by General Tire. Unleash the fury.
MAV TV, American Real.
And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. The Lucas Oil Modified Racing Series is brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn.
This is the Lucas Oil Modified Series by Lone Mart. We're here at the Bull Ring, final race of the season. And we got off to a bit of a rough start. Old Glory flying proudly here at the Lucas Oil Modified Series, and this is the Lucas Oil Battle at the Bull Ring, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and we've got them all lined up one more time, and we didn't even get through turns 1 and 2 before the mayhem started.
It's been a battle on lap number 1. Lined up side by side, we'll try it one more time. Again, Doug Carpenter on the pole. That's the black and white number 3. Dylan Kwasniewski in the purple and white number 3X. That is your front rows. We'll try it one more time.
Last time, Carpenter locked up the tires going into turn number 1 and then washed up the track. Kwasniewski getting a good run on the outside. Carpenter stays right with him, though.
A lot of speedy dry on the racetrack. Someone obviously laying down fluids as here comes Carpenter, the inside of Kwasniewski, and they touch down the back straight, down the front straightaway, rather.
Yeah, I think that's, again, you see Kwasniewski with the hand out the window there. He's like, come on, dude, I'm on the outside. But that's 2 times now where Carpenter's car has washed up the track a little bit as he tries to get a little bit of temperature inside of those front tires and get them up to pressures.
Well, Dylan Kwasniewski, 2012 K&N Pro Series West champ, says, you know what, Carpenter? Go ahead, buddy. I'll hold on to second place here, but now has to worry about the 24 car of Strobel racing up in there.
Yeah, Kwasniewski using the outside lane. Don't know if he can't maybe keep his car down there on the bottom. Maybe it's just a little bit too tight right now.
And that is Austin Barnes right behind him, your current point leader, looking for the title, and he gets a little love from Barnes there.
Kwasniewski's getting beat up on every issue, and it looks like he's going to pull down off of the racetrack.
So that will certainly bring out the caution flag, as you can see him stopped on the back straightaway, or will it? We're still green.
Yeah, maybe he's in a safe spot there, and now the caution flag comes out. See if we can find out what went wrong. So Carpenter up front. It wasn't easy, and Dylan Kwasniewski, unfortunately, down on the inside of the track with something broken on the race car after getting hit in the front end a couple times and hit in the back end a couple times. This is on the restart, and you can see, I mean, Carpenter definitely washing up at least a half a width.
Then entering turn number 1 here.
I don't see anything that would have caused damage to Kwasniewski's car there. Everything looking good here.
You can see a little smoke there out of Kwasniewski. Looks like off the left rear. So, yeah, and they're calling for the wrecker. So his night looks like it's done at this point.
Might have broke the diff inside of that thing. Unfortunately, the very talented young Dylan Kwasniewski out of this one early on.
Ran just 4 events last year. Picked up a win at Havasu. Also ran 2nd at Vegas, 4th at Irwindale. So there is Austin Barnes, your championship points leader in the blue 51A, the 51 2-time defending champion. Jim Martis there.
We talked about it before, that oil dry out there on the track, and something in oval track racing that they're used to. I mean, it happens, and they all drive through it, but it can easily get up in your eyes and be quite the nuisance before it's all said and done. Doesn't look like they're going to fill in the hole here for Dylan Kwasniewski, so Carpenter starts on the front row by himself.
On board with E3 spark plugs and Jim Martis, currently running 4th. You really see him sawing on that wheel.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of steering input there, and these tires just aren't up to snuff just yet. They're not up to temperatures or pressures. Let's get it to Dave.
Guys, when we last saw this series at Madera, earlier in the race, Jim Martis and Austin Barnes got together on the racetrack. Martis did recover to still post a good finish, but now tonight, here at Las Vegas, they're running neck and neck, the same together on the racetrack. Will Martis be a spoiler? We'll have to watch the 51 and the 51A as we get going here further into the race.
And Dave brings up a good battle that we saw earlier in the year. However, the circumstances were quite different in race number 5 versus now. And Martis virtually has no shot at winning this championship. Barnes absolutely does. So for Barnes to get into a vicious battle with Martis tonight just would not make any sense.
Yeah, the only thing Martis can really do is try and go out there and win the race, and that could come into play, because if he gets to racing with one of the championship leaders, I mean, he's out here, he wants to win. I mean, if there's some bumping and banging, he goes on to win the race in trouble with one of the championship leaders. That could affect the outcome of this title. Meanwhile, up front, it's been Doug Carpenter pretty much the whole race.
Carpenter with a great start, but we have to tell you that Chris Gershman just pulled off of the track. That's it. The championship is settled. The blue car in 3rd place, Austin Barnes, will be the 5th champion of this series.
And I'm sure the crew will let Barnes know that, to tell them that, you know what, you can go for the win, man. Points are of no concern, as it looks like we have one stopped on the racetrack, and that is Devin Lahorg from Redding, California. Comes to a stop, brings out the caution, a 4th-generation driver. Now resides in Grants Pass, Oregon.
There's a look at your MAV TV American Real Top 5. Carpenter, Barnes, and Strobel.
The Lucas Oil Modified Racing Series is brought to you by Speedco Truck Lube and Tires, built for speed, staffed for quality, delivering world-class value.
Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Modified Series by Lone Mart here at the Lucas Oil Battle at the Bull Ring. We're at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and the championship has been locked up. The number 51 on the outside there is our champion, as unfortunately Chris Gershman, who's had nothing but bad luck all weekend long, has suffered a mechanical.
Back underway, you can see side-by-side racing. Doug Carpenter continues to lead, and now Austin Barnes moving into that second spot, got by Shelby Strobel. So Barnes, now that he knows that the championship is over, if the crew told him, he can go for the win.
Yeah, this is a great feeling for Barnes, and Barnes with a fast car here as well, much like he's had all year long. Oh, might get in a little bit of trouble right there. Maybe overdrove that entry just a bit.
Strobel right behind him in the third spot. You see right now running in fifth, Jim Martis in the black and white 51, two-time champion. Wants to close out the year with a win right here at Vegas, on board now with Austin Barnes and Canada All Natural Pet Foods.
It's just a great feeling. I mean, you can relax. You can go out here and have some fun. You can really push the car and just know that there's no major consequences if something doesn't go your way. Pretty much driving that thing with a left hand, and you can see how much easier on the steering wheel he is now versus what we saw a little bit earlier, I believe it was with Martis, early on in the race.
Again, Strobel right behind the 51A. That is the battle for second. Keep an eye on the E3 Spark Plugs ticker up on top. Find your favorite driver. You see the 25J of Lindstroth. We haven't mentioned him there in the fourth position, the driver from Citrus Heights, California, just northeast of Sacramento, coming down here to Vegas to run with the Lucas Oil Modified Series.
Nose to tail deeper in the pack, side by side. Good battle for 11th as well. And the 45 sneaks right underneath. I'll tell you, man, you've got to keep these cars planted down on the bottom.
We've talked about it a lot. You don't want to heat up that right front. You want a car that can rotate. But like we saw the last time on TV, as the caution comes out, if it can over-rotate, if it gets loose, that is also not very good. Nick Romano comes to a stop on the racetrack.
Yeah, we